I change the tides beneath the surface. I move the root of the attack so that what you see will soon move. The shift you feel in your bones, that bending, that looseness in your chest, that subtle hope defying despair, that is the hinge point turning your hidden war into your heralded victory. Have you noticed? In the middle of your worst moment, some light flickers. A whisper of peace in the chaos. A memory of faith you thought was burned up. An unexpected kindness. A moment of rest in your spirit. Those are not too small. Those are my flags raised in the battleground of your soul. Those are markers that what was buried is being birthed. What was broken is becoming beautiful. What was wounded is being woven into wonder. Even though the room looks the same, you are being changed. Even though you feel weak, there is power being deposited in places you cannot yet see. Even though your voice trembles, I am lifting it. Even though your heart shakes, I am steadying it. Heaven has already recorded the battle. Heaven has declared the outcome. And I have come to lead you into the break. So do not despise the ordinary today. Do not reject the familiar because it looks unchanged. Do not measure my movement by your superficial environment. Measure by what is stirring in your soul. Measure by the dreams that still pulse. Measure by the hope that still whispers. Measure by what you sense beyond sight. For I have stepped into your battle, and I will fight it with you. I will carry you through the fire. I will guide you in the darkness. I will settle you in my peace. You will walk out of this unseen war redeemed, restored, and radiant. Because I did not come to send signs. I came to settle the war. And it is already happening. Beloved, listen to me. The weight you've been dragging in the secret places, the shame, the fear, the not enough, the always anxious, the always trying harder, all that has been crushing your spirit in silence. It has bent you over from the inside, made your chest feel like it can't take another breath, made your mornings heavy like they'll never be lighter, made your nights wide awake though your soul begged for rest. I see it. I know it. I have carried it even when you thought you carried it alone. And now, because I am here, because I've stepped into this room, because my presence saturates the air you breathe, you don't have to carry that burden anymore. You can release it. You can lay it down. You can lean back into me. You don't have to pretend you're strong enough to hold it anymore. Let me hold it. Let me be strong for you've already done more than you knew possible. I'm not speaking in a whisper now. I'm speaking with thunder wrapped in gentleness, because what you're carrying is colossal, but so is my capacity. That burden has been invisible, because the world doesn't see the shadow of anxiety, the late night tears, the prayer whispered in fear. But I have. Every sigh, every stiffening of your neck for bearing shame, every moment you forced a smile, every whispered I'm fine when you were far from fine. I cataloged them. The ledger of your sorrow is written in heaven. And I am decreeing right now that ledger is being erased. That burden is being transferred. The load is leaving your shoulders. The weight is being lifted from your back. And you will walk lighter. You will rise higher. You will breathe freer. But child, this giving isn't passive. It is an act of war. It is a rebellion against oppression. When you surrender that burden, you're not losing strength. You are unleashing strength. When you let go, you're not being weak. You're becoming powerful in a way you never understood. When you stop pretending and start releasing, you open up room for me to fill. I want to fill every hollow place that burden occupied. I want to pour my peace into the cracks. I want to fill your lungs again with hope. I want your heart to have margin, your days to have breathing room, your nights to be cradled in my peace. Let go of the invisible so I can manifest the visible blessing. Let go of the shame so I can clothe you in freedom. Let go of the I must and receive the I am. So cry. If tears come, let them fall. If hands trembled, let them tremble. If you can't even form the words, let me carry them for you. I'm not chastising you for how long you held on. I'm not counting the hours, the nights, the tears. I'm simply saying, it ends now. Turn your palms upward. Release the grit. End me every worry, every regret, every fear, every what if, every if only. I will take them. I will absorb them. Where you were once broken, I will rebuild. Where you were once burdened, I will birth beauty. Where you felt weak, you will know strength, my strength. You will know rest, my rest. You will know peace, deeper than you ever imagined, because peace that comes from my presence is not merely calmness. It is restoration. It is redemption. It is resurrection. Give the burden to me now. I stand ready, arms open, heart wide, because I love you, utterly and eternally. Oh, my dear child, the lies. They've been many. Quiet lies. Poisonous whispers coaxed in darkness. You're not enough. You failed. You don't matter. You're too broken. They left because you weren't good enough. Those voices became so familiar you began to believe them were your own. You began to carry them like a heavy cloak, wrapping yourself in shame, shrinking yourself in rooms, speaking smaller than your spirit felt. But hear me now, those whispers are not your story. You were not born for lies. You were born for truth. And I declare, by my name, I silence them. I hush the whisperers. I extinguish the voices that said you're worthless. Because when my breath moves, lies lose their power. When my presence stands in your soul, darkness cannot hold its lies. When I speak, truth erupts. When I draw near, you will hear from heaven, not from hollow voices of hopelessness again. You have been wrestling with value in the places the world doesn't see. The long nights, the shame-laden glances, the feelings that your life is invisible, your contributions minimal, your dreams too grand for your current pain. But those feelings are fabrications of the enemy, not the fingerprints of my design. I created you with purpose, with precision, with passion. I wove intrinsic worth into your bones before you ever took a breath. I called you fearfully and wonderfully made. I named you my masterpiece. I tucked potentials in your DNA that defy the whispers of insignificance. And so those lies, though loud, are being drowned now, drowned in the volume of my love, the thunder of my affection, the unshakable identity I've set before you. No longer will you accept small whispers over my roaring truth. So take this moment, place your hand on your heart. Feel the truth beneath the lie. Feel the pulse of my love. Feel the stir of my presence in you. You may feel shame. Yes, you may feel regret. Yes, you may feel the weight of those whispers still. But feel more the trembling truth that you are loved. Feel more the certainty that you are chosen. Feel more the unshakable promise that you are mine. And when those whispers come again, and they will, you will know how to respond. Liar, I reject you. Truth, I embrace you. And I, your God, will back up that declaration with power. I will infuse you with confidence. I will graft my worth into your soul. I will make you walk with a dignity no hurt can steal. No word can shift. No shadow can eclipse. Because I have whispered over you more loudly than the enemy ever shouted. Let this be your turning point. The moment when you stop believing lies because they are loud and start holding my truth because it is stronger. The moment when you trade the harsh whispers for my unending song. The moment when you see the worth I placed in you, not because of what you do, but because of who I am and who I have made you. I don't just silence lies with words. I silence them with presence. I silence them with power. I silence them with my love. And you, beloved, will stand, not in comparison to others, but in the eternal affirmation of my voice. You are enough. You are mine. You are beautiful. You are chosen. You are loved. Whispers of worthlessness. Lose your power. In my name. My beloved, I know you've tasted abundance that never quite filled. I know you've wrapped yourself in comforts, familiar routines, safe people, soothing distractions, hoping they would quiet your heart. But lately, those comforts have started to crack. What used to carry warmth now feels hollow. What used to feel like peace now tastes like ash. You've tried to fill the emptiness with what the world calls security, with what society says is success, with what you thought you deserved. But none of it has satisfied, not because it was meant to fail, but because I was carving out a place for something greater in you. The more I call you deeper, the less shallow satisfaction holds. The more I stir you, the more the old wells run dry. Because I am preparing in you a thirst that only my presence can quench. Do you feel that tug in your chest, that longing that surges when silence surrounds you? That pull toward something unseen, something untasted, something unbroken inside you demanding its birth. That is not frustration. That is my invitation. I am calling you deeper into knowing me, into trusting me, into remaining in me when all else fades. What once felt like comfort was only a foothold, a temporary shelter under my wings. And now, I pull you toward the core, closer to my heart, where the roots of joy grow, where the blood of promise pulses, where the fragrance of purpose perfumes your spirit. I want you not merely to be satisfied, I want you to be aflame. Not just surviving, living. Not just enduring, thriving. And that requires leaving behind what has become comfortable. Yes, leaving behind. It may demand you move away from things you thought you could rely on. From relationships that only offer echoes. From goals that were more about image than intimacy. From past versions of yourself you cling to because they were easier, because they demanded less risk. But child, I promise you, the discomfort is the soil of transformation. The longing you feel in your soul is not a mistake. It is the signal that I am beginning in you something new, something holy, something that will reshape every dimension of your life. When you resist the old, I can birth the new. When you surrender the easy, I can lead you into the extraordinary. When you let go of what satisfies little, you make way for what satisfies forever. So do not despise these seasons of unrest. Do not scoff at the ache inside you. Do not think for one moment I got this wrong or that I left you wanting. I never miscall. I never mislead. I include this pain in my plan. I weave this craving into my design. I have placed within you a hunger for more, not mere blessings, but belonging. Not just comfort, but courage. Not just safety, but significance. So when the old comforts fail, when they feel shallow or empty, don't run. Don't shrink. Don't retreat. Lean in. Let the stirring become your strength. Let the longing become your ladder. I call you deeper, deeper into my love, deeper into my purpose, deeper into the reality you were always made for. Child, can you sense the urgency in the hush? The hush that shouts louder than any storm. Heaven has pressed pause. The cosmos itself has bent its knee, waiting for your response. This is not just another moment among many. This is a holy communion, a sacred gathering of your soul and my presence. And I urge you, do not run. Do not reach for distraction. Do not fill this space with noise. Not with social media. Not with comparison. Not with dulling things. Because if you scroll past this, you might miss the sound of the breaking dawn. If you minimize this encounter, you may lose the moment that redefines your life. Heaven has cleared its schedule for you. Angels are watching. Eternity leans in. I have stopped the earth's spin for this pause. Can you stay? Do not let fear be louder than faith. Do not let duty or distraction steal this sacredness. I know how easy it is to push this aside, to wait for later, when things feel more right. Later, when you feel more whole. Later, when your heart has less baggage. But child, this later is now. What you're experiencing is not a trick of the mind. Not nostalgia. Not wishful thinking. It is the real, raw, roaring presence of your God. And it is calling you to full attention. So lift your face. Still your hands. Let this moment have your full being. Let this encounter take you deeper than your questions. Let it speak louder than your wounds. Let it anchor you in something eternal. And I'm telling you, every moment you resist the urge to escape, every time you choose to lean into the holy hush instead of shutting it off, your soul is being rewoven. The fibers of your destiny are being sewn together. Patterns of purpose are being realigned. Promises long held behind curtains are being drawn near. The warmth of heaven is beginning to glow within you in places you thought dead. The light is burning off the residual shame, the residue of lies, the shadow of what you believed you had to be instead of what you are, mine. Heaven paused everything else, because what matters now is not what you do, but that you stay here with me. Not for performance, not for pride, not for posturing, but for presence. So stay. Remain in this moment. Breathe in me. Let me breathe into you. Let me speak into your silence. Let your heart answer me before your mind can find the words. And you will never be the same. Heaven's pause is not just rest. It is revolution. It is the door opening. It is the beginning of what you have earnestly longed for. Don't run. Don't scroll. Don't miss it. This is holy. This is consecrated. This is yours. Beloved child, lift your eyes from the clock, from the calendar, from the calendar's taunts. I know you've been counting hours, measuring delays, comparing your walk to dreams that seemed to pass you by. You saw others stride while you stumbled. You watched doors open for many while your door felt sealed. In the silence you wondered, am I too slow? Did I miss my moment? Is hope slipping through my fingers like sand? But I tell you now, you are not behind. You have not missed my timing. Every second that seemed wasted, every tear that spilled unseen, every night you felt alone, they have all been part of the preparation, part of the divine blueprint being drawn in the shadows. The tapestry of your life has threads that only my fingers could weave, and I have sewn every moment, including the ones you felt lost, into lines of purpose. This moment, the one you're in now, is not some consolation prize for waiting. It is right on time. It is the confluence where preparation meets promise. It is the sacred intersection of your persistence and my power. The universe hath been holding its breath for this, for you to realize that the delay was not your defeat but the soil for your deliverance. And the release you have been praying for, the breakthrough you've spoken of in whispers, the restoration you've dared only in visions, they begin now. Not when everything is perfect, not after you feel worthy, but now. Because I came into your room before you felt ready, knowing that readiness is not the absence of fear, but faith in the face of fear. I came knowing that your trembling heart could still be my stage for miracles. Can you feel the shift? It started inside you, the stirring, the soft widening of your spirit, the unexpected hope that rose where you thought none existed. It's unseen by many, but it's vivid in heaven. The chains that held you in captivity, of guilt, disappointment, shame, they are loosening. The windows I promised to open are beginning to bud. The natural pulse of your life is aligning with my supernatural timbre. Don't ignore what you sense. Don't dismiss what you feel. Let the knowledge that this moment is right on time saturate every doubt, every insecurity. Speak it. Declare it. Believe it in your bones. Because when heaven begins to release, it does so not in whispers but in shouts. Not in small shifts but in sweeping, seismic shifts. So refuse the lie that you're late. Refuse the fear that you missed your chance. Refuse the voices that tell you hope is delayed. Hope is arriving. The release begins now, in your body, in your spirit, in your home, in your steps. I have not forgotten your name. I have not overlooked your story. I have not delayed my promise. I have been positioning, preparing, protecting you so that when the moment came, you would rise in beauty, not in shame, in triumph, not in doubt, in clarity, not in confusion. Now receive that. Let the air around you crackle with possibility. Let your heart expand to receive what I've purposed. Your time is here. Not tomorrow, not later, now. Oh my child, how often you've swallowed words so heavy with pain you thought they would choke you. How often you've rehearsed prayers in your head, waiting for just the right line, the polished phrase, the words that felt holy enough. You felt the shame of unspoken prayers. You believed that unless your prayers sounded correct, they were somehow unacceptable. But there is no sacredness in perfection, only in heartfelt honesty. I am not waiting for your prayer to be flawless. I'm waiting for your heart to be open. I don't disdain your broken sentences. I treasure your whispered groans. I don't need eloquence. I need you willing to come as you are. Come righted. Come raw. Come trembling. Come in your doubt, your fear, your tears. Just come. Do you know I collect every tear? Every silent, late night I stain from sorrow, every shuddering breath under loads too heavy to speak, every unvoiced longing that curls in the chamber of your heart, I collect them. You think they vanish into emptiness, but I catch them, with hands that do not miss, with eyes that do not glaze, with ears attuned to the language of your soul. I understand every drop, and in understanding, I am moved. I do not catalog your cries as failure. I do not count your tears as impatience. I count them as proof. Proof that you are alive. Proof that you are reaching. Proof that your spirit still believes. Even when your body feels numb. Even when your future feels foggy. Even when your voice falters. Each tear is sacred. Each sigh is significant. So do not hold back. Let them fall. Let the shame drip away with them. Let the release in your sobs. You do not need to cover your face. You do not need to hide the mess. Let it spill. Let it flow. Because when your tear-stained prayer is offered in honesty, my presence rushes in, drenching the ground of your heart with mercy. And I respond, not to the polish of the words, but to the earnestness of your need. I bind your brokenness with kindness. I cradle your trembling with tenderness. I breathe hope into the places that fear had suffocated. Your tears become the language of healing. Your cry becomes my chorus. Your brokenness becomes my beauty. And when the perfect words seem far away, Know that you are heard. When your heart cannot summon a sentence but only grief, I understand. When your spirit can only whisper, I interpret. I translate. I respond. I do not need your proficiency in prayer. I need your presence at the throne. You are enough. Your openness, your truth, your willingness to ache, these are more sacred than flowery language. So open your heart. Let it bleed beauty. Let it ache with longing. Let it pour. Let it fall. I collect them all. Each wet trace, each softened gasp, each inhale and exhale marked by pain and hope. I understand every drop. In every tear, my love is being poured. In every tear, your heart is being acknowledged. In every tear, the seeds of healing are sown. Beloved, you've been so afraid of falling apart that sometimes you stiffen the parts of your soul that are crying. You've tried to patch the cracks in your faith, hold the pieces of your heart so tightly that the pressure of trying became its own burden. You thought strength meant never breaking, never showing the tears behind the eyes, never admitting you couldn't handle one more disappointment. But I see the trembling. I see the way you swallow your sorrow at the table where others dine in delight. I see the silent choke in your throat when hope feels like it's run out of words. And I say this now, I am not observing from on high, pacing heaven's hallway, hoping you'll string together enough composure to keep going. I am stepping in. I am touching down. I am holding you together. In this second, in the quiet, in the chaos, in every crack you feel inside. Because my hand is not distant. My hand is not conditional. My hand cradles what is breaking. You don't have to pretend. You don't have to shine. You don't have to polish your pain. I am holding what's raw, what's ragged, what's real. The weight in your chest that makes each inhale heavy, I've placed my palm over it. The heaviness in your bones that says you can't move, I lifted the burden, even before you asked. The loneliness that echoed in night hours, I send my presence as counter-echo. When you could not glue your spirit back together, my compassion became the glue. When you could not carry your brokenness, my grace bore every fragment. I'm not waiting for your strength to show up so I can be available. I was already here, waiting for your encountering of my strength, not your own. I do not need your performance to be powerful. I only need your permission to let me hold you. And now, rest in the reality that your value is not measured by your composure but by my compassion. You are not upheld because you keep it together. You are upheld because I am holding you together. Even when your faith falters, even when your hope trembles, even when your heart is whisper aching, I am holding you together. Your tears are threads weaving strength. Your surrender is the soil of breakthrough. Your vulnerability is the vessel for my glory. So do not fear the breaking. Do not reject the weak places. Do not despise the moments you feel undone. For in the very places where you feel most fragile, I am building something unbreakable. I am weaving beauty from ashes. I am restoring the ruined places. I am binding your wounds. I am the God who holds you, every strain, every sorrow, every weighted breath, in my palm. So let go of resisting the cracks. Let go of trying to pretend you're stronger than you are. Let go of hiding the pieces you think are shameful. Let me hold them. Let me hold you. In this very second, you are not falling. You are being held. My presence is the tether that holds your heart, the scaffolding under your brokenness, the firm foundation beneath your trembling. No, I'm not pacing heaven hoping for your firmness. I am your strength. I am your class. I am your peace. I am your rescue. And child, I will not let go. As I begin unveiling the next chapter in your story, I am also inviting you to turn the page for someone else. You've been moved because you felt me in the room. Now help someone else hear me for the first time. When you give, through Super Thanks, membership, or PayPal, you're not just donating, you're delivering living water to dry places. You're sowing into a harvest of souls I'm calling by name. My word says in Proverbs 11:25, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. And I am the God who never forgets a seed sown in faith. The moment you release it, I breathe on it. I multiply it. I shield it. I honor it. So act now. Sow into this word and become the miracle someone else is still praying for. Oh, my beloved child, I see your longing. I feel the ache in your spirit for something you can't yet name. Something beyond what you have asked. Something beyond what you have deserved. You have believed love when it was safe. You have walked close to grace when it came cheap. But lately, love has felt like it's slipping through your fingers. Like my nearness is a memory. Like the good things you hoped for remain just out of reach. And in that ache you've wondered, has God changed? Am I no longer loved? Yet I somehow push you away. Listen, every doubt, every deserted feeling, every moment you thought I didn't care, they are not signs of my departure. They are part of my design. I am stretching you, child. Stretching you for more. More than what you have asked. More than what you have imagined. More love. More fulfillment. More destiny. More fullness. Stretching is often painful. I know how your limbs feel pulled, how your heart feels stretched thin by grief and expectation and longing. I know how what once felt enough now feels too small. I know you ache for magnitude but fear the magnitude demands more than you can give. And so I allow the tension. I allow the stretch. Because in every stretch I am expanding your capacity. I am growing you into the miracle you prayed for. I am enlarging your womb of faith so what has been birthing in seed can now birth in fruit. What has been whispering in your spirit can now roar in its manifestation. What has been a flicker of hope can now flood into a blaze of glory. I am not distancing my love. I am deepening it, not pulling away, but pulling up what is hidden, what is undiscovered, what has waited for you to believe that my love is bigger than your fear, stronger than your sin, higher than your shame. Do not misread this stretch as weakness nor mistake the silence as separation. Do not let the smallness of your vision limit the largeness of my promise. Do not let the pressures you feel crush you, but let them cradle you into expansion. Growth is always messy. Stretching is always uncomfortable. But in the discomfort lies your masterpiece. In the tension is your transfiguration. In the longing is your legacy. You are being fashioned, not into what the world wants you to be, but into what my heart created you for. More beauty, more purpose, more presence, more power, more peace, more promise. And so now I say to you, receive this stretch. Embrace the ache. Let the longing be your ladder. Let the space between what is and what shall be become the soil where faith takes root. I am with you in the tension. I am molding your heart in the pressure. I am sending love deeper than you have known. My love is not distant. It is not conditional. It is not provisional. It is intentional. It is expansive. It is interminable. And it is alive. Love you have yet to ask for. I am pouring it out. Blessings you cannot yet see. I am preparing them. Purpose you have not yet walked into. I am paving the way. The stretch is for more than you asked. It is for more than you imagined. My beloved, let this sink deep into the marrow of your soul. I never looked away. Not once. Not even for a heartbeat. Not even when the tear soaked your pillow in secret. Not when the doors closed on dreams you barely had the courage to speak aloud. Not when your spirit whispered, "Where are you, God?" Through clenched teeth and silent sobs. I was there. I am there. I did not withdraw when things became difficult. I did not turn my face when your faith wavered. In fact, it was in those very moments, those hidden, hollow spaces, that I leaned in closer than ever before. When you thought I was silent, I was scripting something sacred. I was authoring a chapter that required darkness so the light could be seen in full brilliance. You mistook my silence as absence, but child, silence is not always abandonment. Sometimes, silence is the sound of seeds growing under soil. Sometimes it is the stillness before the rain that awakens the earth. You thought the pause meant I had forgotten, but I was memorizing every sigh. You thought the silence meant rejection, but I was preparing resurrection. You see, what I was writing needed space. It needed depth. It needed your trust, not in answers but in me. And while the world moved on, and others rushed ahead, I stayed. I waited. I surrounded you with a quiet only the hungry notice, a stillness only the broken feel, a hush where eternity hums if you listen closely. That quiet wasn't empty. It was pregnant with promise. I was scripting the next line of your legacy while you thought the story was closing. Look back, even now. See the clues. That moment when peace found you out of nowhere. A text from someone you hadn't heard from in months. That whisper of courage when you were sure you would collapse. Those were my fingerprints. I was authoring lines in invisible ink, waiting for the heat of your surrender to reveal them. I watched you with the eyes of a father whose love burns through disappointment. I watched you with the gaze of a bridegroom who cannot take his eyes off the one he loves. I watched, not with criticism, but with deep affection, with fierce loyalty, with tears that mingled with yours. I watched, not from afar but from inches away, heart pressed to heart, breath close enough to stir your soul. So now, hear me, the next chapter has begun. The silence was not a stop sign. It was a sala, a sacred pause before the symphony shifts. And I'm turning the page. I'm lifting you out of the waiting room and into the unveiling. The words I wrote in silence are about to become the song you sing in victory. The moments you thought were meaningless are about to burst into manifestation. You were never alone. You were being written into something greater. You are the poetry I protected in silence. The story I watched unfold with unwavering attention. I never stopped watching you, not for a second. And now, beloved, it's time to turn the page. My precious one, hear me now with your spirit, not just your ears. Everything is shifting. Yes, even though the surface still looks the same. Even though the report hasn't changed. Even though the breakthrough hasn't visibly arrived. While you've been praying in whispers and obeying in shadows, I have been moving mountains behind the veil. What you think is stagnant is sacred. What looks delayed is divinely timed. You have no idea how much I've already aligned. Every quiet yes, every unseen act of surrender, every morning you got out of bed when your soul begged to stay down. Those have been earthquakes in the spirit. Heaven saw. Heaven responded. Heaven moved. You thought the obedience you offered in private was too small to matter. But beloved, nothing is small when it's offered from the heart. Every unseen sacrifice has roared in heaven. Every moment you chose forgiveness over bitterness, every time you served when no one thanked you, every moment you resisted compromise and chose my way, you were activating miracles. Miracles not only for you but through you. You were interceding for future generations. You were breaking cycles. You were sowing seeds that will become harvests in places you haven't even stepped yet. Because obedience in private is power in public. You were building altars in the dark that will shine like beacons in daylight. You were pulling heaven to earth. And now, the shift is accelerating. Like tectonic plates underneath calm soil, the movement has begun. Foundations are shaking in the unseen, and soon the evidence will break through. You're going to see favor pour from unexpected places. Conversations will shift. Doors will open that you didn't knock on. People will be drawn to you without knowing why, because they will feel what you carried in secret. The weight of glory, the fragrance of obedience, the residue of holiness. You are not just walking into blessing, you are becoming one. Your story will be a catalyst for others. What I am birthing through your faithfulness will echo in homes, in generations, in nations. And it began with obedience no one else applauded. So don't diminish the power of your private yes. Don't let the delay make you doubt the divine. Don't assume quiet seasons are wasted. They are wombs. They are chambers where miracles are conceived. And I promise you this, what had been shifted behind the scenes will soon come crashing into the forefront. You will see what I have seen all along. You will walk in what you water with tears. You will carry what your private surrender unlocked. It is coming. Because you obeyed when it was hardest. Because you trusted when it didn't make sense. Because you believed when you couldn't see. And now, beloved, get ready. What I promised in secret will be proclaimed in public. Oh, my child, you've wondered more than once why you're still standing after what you've walked through. You've questioned why, after storms that seemed relentless, betrayals that left you bleeding, griefs that tore through your soul like wild winds, somehow, you're still breathing, still waking up, still finding the strength to whisper my name. Others saw the smile, but I saw the survival. They saw your strength, but I saw the sacred scar tissue where healing was still underway. And today, I need you to understand something powerful, something sacred, something deeply personal. You are still standing because I held you upright when your legs gave out. You are not here because of luck. You are here because of love, my love, sustaining you moment by moment, breath by breath, in places no one else even knew existed. Do you remember those nights? The ones where your pillow soaked in silent tears. The mornings where you stared at the ceiling, begging for one good reason to keep going. The moments when darkness whispered louder than hope and you couldn't find your way back to the light. I was there, not just as a distant presence hovering in the heavens. I was in the room. I was in the shadowed silence. I was in the shaky inhale. I was in the broken prayer you didn't even finish because the sobs overtook your voice. My hand didn't flinch when it reached into your pit. My grip didn't weaken when you collapsed inward. My voice didn't falter when I called your name while the enemy tried to silence it. I cupped your heart like holy treasure, shielding it from collapse. I held your soul like sacred fire, fanning the embers even when you thought the flame had died. And listen to me. What others call resilience, I call redemption. What others call coincidence, I call covenant. You are not the product of survival instinct. You are the miracle of divine intervention. Yes, there were things that should have crushed you. Words that should have broken you beyond repair. Losses that should have rendered you numb forever. But I stood between you and the final blow. I absorbed what would have destroyed you. I shielded you with a grace that was invisible to the world but invincible in power. You didn't have to scream for me to respond. I was already there, waiting, watching, weeping with you. And now I tell you this, Every time you stayed standing, I was strengthening you for this next season. Every moment you didn't fall was a prophetic announcement. You are still in your story, and the best has not yet been written. So walk forward now, not as someone limping from trauma, but as someone carried through fire by God Himself. You bear the marks of survival, yes, but also the anointing of someone preserved for purpose. The enemy didn't win. The depression didn't win. The grief didn't take you out. The betrayal didn't define you. My hand held you, and it still does. And now, as the winds shift and the horizon clears, know this truth in your bones. You are not lucky. You are not forgotten. You are not random. You are divinely protected, intentionally preserved, and chosen to carry glory even when it costs. You are still standing because I stood with you, through every shaking, every silence, every storm. And now, we keep walking together, not as survivor and stranger, but as father and beloved. Still standing, yes, but never alone. You've been desperate for clarity. I know that. You've asked, again and again, God, just show me. If it's really you, make it obvious. You weren't being disrespectful. You were being honest. You needed to know if the whispers in your spirit were your own wishful thinking or my voice. You needed something to break through the noise, to cut through the confusion, to silence the doubts that keep circling your mind like vultures over an empty field. And now I say to you, listen carefully, this moment, this very sentence, this divine interruption in your scrolling, in your day, in your thoughts. This is me. Not metaphorically, not hypothetically, not someday in the future. Now, I am speaking. I am confirming. I am showing up. I am here. This is not just a message. It is a manifestation. It is heaven parting the veil to let my voice come through without filter. This is not coincidence. This is confirmation. You felt me stirring. You've heard my voice in the quiet, in the stillness, in the scripture that wouldn't let you go. You've seen the repeated words, the recurring themes, the divine echoes that showed up in conversations you weren't even looking for. And yet you wondered, could it really be God? Yes, it's me. I've been talking for longer than you've been listening. I've been calling your name in every sacred silence. I've been aligning details, weaving signs, planting breadcrumbs. And now, in this holy pause, I speak with thunder in my tenderness. I am the God who sees you, who knows you, who has not forgotten you. This is your confirmation. You are not crazy. You are not chasing shadows. You are hearing me. Child, you've asked for a sign, and I have not rebuked you for that. I understand that your faith, while growing, sometimes needs an anchor. You've been through enough fog to crave clarity. And here it is, clear as crystal, sharp as lightning, tender as breath. I am here. This is not an algorithm. This is not a script. This is not generic. This is personal. This is prophetic. This is divinely designed. And I didn't just come to give you a yes or no. I came to pull you close, to draw you into deeper trust. Because you weren't just asking for a sign. You were asking, do you still see me? And my answer is a resounding, resplendent yes. I see you. I know what you're walking through. I know what you need. And I'm not distant. I'm not silent. I'm speaking now. So now, beloved, breathe deep. Let this be the moment your heart finally exhales. Let this be the moment the fear of what if I miss God breaks off of you. Let this be the hour where doubt turns into dance, where confusion turns into clarity, where fear is swallowed up by fire. I am confirming everything I've whispered before. You didn't make it up. You didn't imagine me. You didn't conjure hope out of delusion. You were responding to my voice all along. And now I remove the question mark and replace it with my seal. This is me. This is the moment. This is your confirmation. Go forward not with hesitation, but with holy certainty. I am with you, not in theory, but in real time. Beloved, this may shake you, but listen closely, because truth often does. You keep saying you're waiting on me, that you're still praying, still seeking, still hoping that my timing will arrive. But I must tell you something now, something weighty, something liberating, something urgent. You are not waiting on me anymore. I'm waiting on you. I have already positioned the doors. I've already stirred the hearts of those who will walk with you. I've already assigned the angelic help. I've already cleared the path you cannot see. The way is prepared. The season is set. The atmosphere is pregnant with promise. The delay is not in the heavens. It's in your hesitation. You've been asking me for more clarity, but child, what you need is not more clarity, it's courage. You're standing at the edge of something I've already greenlit. You're facing a threshold I've already declared holy. The reason your spirit feels unsettled is not because I'm withholding, it's because you are. You're withholding the yes that would activate the release. You're withholding the risk that would break the stagnation. You're standing with the key in your hand, asking me to open a door I already unlocked. I'm not dragging my feet. I'm not testing your patience. I'm waiting for your permission to move forward with the fullness of what I've designed for you. And this moment right now, this exact instant, is saturated with destiny. The pressure you feel, as the build-up before breakthrough, the restlessness, it's the signal that heaven is leaning in. You've been conditioned to fear the lead. You've been taught to wait for perfect timing, perfect peace, perfect provision, but child, perfect never comes before obedience. Obedience creates the atmosphere for miracles. Obedience rearranges reality. It's not about how ready you feel, it's about how willing you are. I don't require perfection. I require participation. And you've reached the moment where the only thing missing is your yes. Not your perfect plan. Not your full understanding. Just your surrendered agreement that says, God, even if I'm trembling, I trust you. So now I ask you, not as a distant God, but as the one who has walked with you through every chapter, will you say yes? Will you move even if your legs shake? Will you trust even if your vision is blurred? Will you stop praying for another confirmation and step into the one I've already given? I've been waiting for you not because you're behind, but because I love you too much to force you. I've honored your process, but the time for decision is now. The threshold won't wait forever. This is your moment. Not someday. Today. Say yes and watch the heavens open. Say yes and watch the oil flow. Say yes and step into what has already been written for you before time began. My precious one, I know how deeply the pain cut. I know how you kept going when no one else knew you were bleeding inside. I know what it took to survive days you never thought you'd see the end of. And I also know that sometimes, even now, you wonder what it was all for. Why did it happen the way it did? Why so much loss? Why so much silence? Why did it feel like you were crushed under the weight of pain that seemed to have no purpose? And this is what I need you to know, what I'm proclaiming over you in this very moment. I never waste pain. Not a second of it. Not a drop. Not a tear. Not a scream in the dark. I redeem it. I resurrect it. I repurpose it. What almost broke you will become the very platform I use to elevate you. You see, the enemy thought your pain would be the end of you. He thought if he hit hard enough, if the heartbreak came deep enough, the betrayal sharp enough, the disappointment long enough, that you'd fold. He thought the pain would take your voice, your vision, your strength. But what he didn't see was that pain in my hands becomes power. What he tried to bury you with, I'm going to build you with. Every scar on your soul is going to shine like stained glass, catching the light of my glory and turning it into testimony. The pain will not be your prison. It will be your platform. What tried to silence you will now amplify your voice. You will speak from the valley, and others will be delivered because you walked through what they couldn't imagine. Your pain has authority now, not because I authored it, but because I've redeemed it. The oil you carry, the depth in your eyes, the resonance in your voice, all of it is forged in fire. This is not the kind of power that comes from ease. This is the kind of power that comes from ashes, when I turn them into beauty. You are anointed not in spite of what you've been through, but because of it. You have seen me in the furnace. You felt me in the pit. And now you will reflect me in your rising. This is why it had to be this way. Not because I delighted in your pain, but because I saw what I could do with it. I saw the glory that would come. I saw the lives that would be touched. I saw the healing that would radiate from your life. So, my child, lift your head. Wipe your tears. Don't hide your scars. Reveal them. They are holy now. They are proof not of defeat, but of divine deliverance. You were not buried. You were planted. And now, it's time to rise, to bloom, to speak, to stand, to lead. The pain will no longer be your tormentor. It will be your trumpet. The sorrow that almost broke you will become the psalm that saves others. Because I never waste pain. I always redeem it. And your redemption is about to be revealed in full, radiant glory. Right now, in this exact moment, pause and look around you. Feel the air. Listen to the silence. Let your heart beat without rushing. Because I need you to hear me with every fiber of your being. I'm here. Not metaphorically. Not someday in the clouds. Not just in scripture or songs or memories. I am here, in this very room, in the space where your questions have echoed and your tears have dried without an audience. I am here where no one else sees, where no one else hears, where you've carried burdens too complex to explain and heartaches too tender to voice. I am not observing you from a distance. I am in the same room. And I am not still because I'm absent. I am still because I am working, and some of my greatest moves begin in silence. Child, I know how loud the weight can be, how deafening it feels to pray and hear nothing back. I know how the walls close in when you've whispered the same hope for months or years and seen no shift. But do not mistake my stillness for inaction. Do not confuse quiet with absence. The truth is, I've already started what you're still waiting to see. The roots are growing before the fruit appears. The blueprint is forming before the building rises. The healing began the moment you surrendered. You just haven't seen the full restoration yet. The provision was set in motion when you first asked. It's just unfolding in layers. But looks like delay is actually divine orchestration. And I am moving even when your eyes cannot trace me. I move differently than the world does. I move in the whispers before the winds. I move in the soil before the sprout. I move in the womb before the world ever sees the birth. So while you've been holding your breath, thinking I was standing still, I've been writing the endings you thought were final. I've been softening hearts you thought were hardened. I've been routing blessings that were blocked, I've been realigning promises that got tangled in the timing. Every closed door made room for something higher. Every not yet was actually I'm preparing something better. I've been orchestrating miracles beneath the surface, slow, steady, sacred. And soon, very soon, the unseen will break into the scene, and you'll realize I was never distant. I was closer than your next thought, closer than the breath in your lungs. Let this settle deep in you. I'm not just in the room to comfort you. I'm in the room to shift things, to transform, to resurrect, to declare war on every lie that said you were alone. My presence is not passive. My nearness is not neutral. When I enter a room,